You give a clap.
Go ahead. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, sir. It's been about a 3-year journey for us in terms of actually Indian cinema in general and Indian culture that we started on our channel, and you've been at the forefront of that, obviously.
Yes.
So it's an absolute.
You get bombarded with
Yes.
yes.
It's been an absolute honor to be able to sit down with you. Not only because you're also probably the first Indian artist that most people in America were exposed to in Slumdog Millionaire, and that. But now that we've been able to explore you even more, it's really exciting to be able to sit down and talk with you. Well, first thing I want to talk about is actually a video we saw not too long ago. I think it was called Cultural Renaissance, and your passion to bring to light Indian artists and get the world to realize the amount of talent coming out of India, and that's one of our passions as well. So if you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I think being born in South India, then making it North India, that itself is a big divide. Even though India we feel one, but languages, cultures, a lot of divide in a way. So some good things get left out in mainstream.
Yeah,
it's like in the Hindi industries, people call it Bollywood, which I don't like. Bollywood. It's a derivative, and so that gets a lot of publicity. But then there are regional films industries like Malayalam and Telugu and Tamil, Kannada and Bengali and Punjabi, and list goes on. And these regional has a lot of gems in it, about classical music, about Indian culture, and all that stuff. So even the folk artists, if you go into the deeper folk, they have great humanity in the songs. They have a sense of, because I think it was early 90s, I bought this 150 CDs of all the world cultures, African, even though I couldn't listen to everything, but I kind of got fascinated by the enormity of how many cultural traditions are there in music, and in the way they sing, the nuances, how they enunciate a word, and all that stuff. So I think when Maja guys came to me, I said, I want you to spearhead this one. I said I was gladly accepted. That's what I've been, and we've been talking for like 5-6 years. I've been telling them, like, you should expand the listener base of folk music and probably give them in the way where they can appreciate it. Because raw stuff can never be appreciated, right?
Yes.
It needs to be presented. And you guys are doing a great job. So
thank you so much. It is our passion. I mean, before the channel started, we've always been celebrators of artistry, and it's really opened our minds and what we want to see other people in the West in particular open their minds to, the broader artistry that's outside of what in America they're most accustomed to. Like when Slumdog came out, I think everybody was listening. It was on the hit charts, was Jai Ho. I mean, everybody listened to that and knew of that. But what they don't know is what you just mentioned, all of the regional aspects and the artistry from those places. Is that, you grew up obviously in music, your father was a composer, you grew up in the studio, but very early on you also started to study Western music. So was world music something you were passionate about from a very early age, or was there a point where it started to expand for you in your both appreciation and composition?
I think, when you have something mainstream, it's a bread and butter. I go play in the studios where, South Indian folk music and classical and cinema music.
Right.
Then you just want to be away from it and you're listening. So I always went out and I was listening to John Williams and Angelus, and then Latin bands, and then Chinese records, and then Bach, the switched on Bach, Wendy Carlos record, which is my favorite. So these things actually taught me that there's a world outside my little South Indian film music world. But Chennai was almost like the capital of that, because all 4 industries were together, and my dad was there. Like there'll be a Malayalam recording here, there'll be a Telugu recording here, there'll be Kannada. So I grew up with that, and then later, strangely, we were backing L. Shankar, who was a Shakti, John McLaughlin. He came in with his wife Caroline that time, and she said, "Can you guys back us up?" So we had a little studio band. So traveling with him, because we adored Shakti, we adored Shankar. He did a record, and then that record actually 3 days I was there in the production, how they were like doing things which are completely not the way we do, and they did one song for 3 days and then in pockets. I said, because I come from industry where there's 7 to 1 and 2 to 9. 7 to 1 the song has to be done and mastered,
done, completed.
mixed and mastered.
Right. So it's like that with all artistry, right? It seems like the film industry does that too. It's like just pump that stuff out.
Yeah. And I said like, so when I came in, I said, I will purposely do a song for 6 months and let's see who's capable.
Good.
So not that, I realized that when you do something instinctively, you can go back and say, oh, I can do that better. I can have a better backing, I can have a better arrangement, I can change the harmony there, I can bring in a chorus there. So all these ideas come later. When you instinctively do, you want to finish it.
Right.
You don't want to complete it. You want
Right.
And the completion comes from a lot of listening, a lot of tweaking, and then finally it arrives. And then it goes to people and people hate it. Why is this like this?
Why is this way?
And because it takes such a process, they realize, oh my God, no, it's something nice about it. I want to go back to it and listen to it. Then 3 weeks and 4 weeks, oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So this has been my life story for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
On that note, a lot of artists have a certain style. We've always been so impressed, obviously, by you, but the fact that you don't have a particular style, you like to change it up a lot.
And basically come from, that's the amazing thing working in India. Nobody's judging you. Like, oh, this guy is doing rock and roll. That's not his forte.
Right.
He's doing South Indian classical. That's not his forte. He's doing, classical arrangement.
Right.
And that's not his. So nobody's judging you. As long as it sounds good to the ears, they're very open.
Yeah.
Unlike when you come to the West, you put a funk and you put a world music. Is that right?
Right.
They go into that.
Right.
They go into research, and I feel like threatened by all that stuff.
Right.
I said, does that sound good? And then does it feel in one world? Today, can you just pinpoint in an airport that this person is this nationality? These are from the mother and father of this. The world is changing.
Yeah.
Yes, thankfully.
A new world is being born.
Yes.
I'm adapting to that. I've been adapting to it for 30 years.
Yeah.
There was actually a song that we just reacted to a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
It was this amazing jazz composition that you did. Aria? Is that what it's?
Aria.
It was this amazing, obviously, video, but the song was this jazz composition with, and it was absolutely
Blues kind of thing.
one of my favorites.
Playing it in this.
Yeah, you kind of brought this whole jazz fusion to I believe it was a Tamil film. And how did people?
Actually, it was the main character was a Christian,
Okay.
In that, and then he was a fisherman. So I said, like, Christian, the music stuff actually expands when people go to church, and they sing choir harmonies, and so I just took a liberty of going a little more further because I've seen Black Church and I've been to Boston and all this stuff, and then I said, why can't we do this? And then let's see. If they hate it, it's fine.
It was well, that touches a little bit on. I wanted to ask you, like, every time we hear your music, my thought is, what's your process for the creation? And I know it would be different because you have done everything. If you look up this man, you'll see every possible musical expression, from TV shows and jingles to classical music in both Eastern and Western styles to jazz to blues. You pretty much can write everything. But is your process about the same when you're actually writing something?
I don't differentiate. I feel like if it goes with the story, even if it goes slightly out, if it goes slightly out, I can pull it in. If it's completely out, then the director is going to say, it's not going to match. But everybody wants a change. The mundaneness of life is horrible. So you just want to break it. And then, even if it's, at least we're trying. Instead of just saying, no, this is what will work. We're not boring people. We're willing to experiment. We're willing to take challenges, even now. And sometimes, I'm composing a musical with Shekhar Kapoor, and then we brought a Rai kind of music in it, and everybody was like quiet for 2 days, and then slowly said, "Hey, I love it, AR."
But for those 2 days, you didn't know.
I was like, okay, it's got rejected. They didn't like it, stuff.
Right.
So I found a singer who was around, and then he sang something. I said, like, why can't I push him to do this song and see what happens? He doesn't know a word of English, so we had to teach him with that little accent, French, Rai accent.
Wow.
So we've got the pleasure of talking to Ustad Zakir Hussain.
Yes.
And he said something that was so interesting to us.
That was him. He was also there.
He was in that segment. Yeah.
But he said something so interesting because we asked him about being, he's he is obviously a master of his craft,
Yeah,
of
he's
the tabla. But we asked him about it and his process, and he answered, he's like, I don't consider myself a master, which is ridiculous, because he is. But he explained that obviously it's more of a relationship between him and the tabla, and that do you being a master yourself, and you are a genius. I can say that. Do you consider your process the kind of the same to music? Is it?
I think the constant seeking of saying, when we try probably 500 things, out of which 5 become amazing, 5 or 6 become amazing, and it's like a blessing. I feel. I think it's a blessing. You can try, for 1,000 years, but still not crack something. But if you get one line to linger in your heart, people's heart, I think that's a blessing.
Yeah.
Because there's somewhere deep, there's a soul which is actually connecting to all the other souls.
Yes.
And for that, you have to constantly be cleansing yourself. Your mind, the way you think about, because what you think actually manifests to the song, to the people.
Yes.
And you can't fake it. You can't be an evil person and try to do a very good song.
Right. True.
There is goodness in all of us, and I feel like, how can you enhance that stuff? How can you trigger that? How can you manifest it in when people are listening to it?
Yeah.
And transport people.
So I have a 2-part question in that regard.
Yeah.
One's a quick answer, one's probably longer. The first one is just yes or no. Do you ever experience writer block as an artist?
Pressure sometimes.
That was my second part.
Yeah.
The pressure to create.
The pressure to create.
Yeah.
So at least now it's better. Before it used to be, we start in March, then I do Rajinikanth movies. Rajinikanth's a big star.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah.
So that this movie has to release by Diwali, let's say. Diwali is the big.
Yeah, so now you have time frame for creative.
And then I have to do the song, I have to do the background. And the electricity used to be very funky in my place. We used to bring 2 generators in the street, and it used to be stationed. And it was hell. And then I'd be doing 3 movies. So the other directors said, my stuff is coming Diwali to AR. Finish
Goodness.
So it was hell. So I used to hate all these festivals because they used to give me hell.
Right.
Whether it's Diwali or New Year or Pongal, because oh my God, because I could never enjoy. But now it's much more leisure. Because I started traveling and then he's busy, so let's go a little early. Let's do this stuff. So things which take longer are better for me.
Yeah. Good.
I want something on that.
Oh, you talked about writer's block.
Yeah.
Writer's block is, we all have that. Because the pressure of we have to deliver hits. It's not like there's no choice because you're getting paid for a hit.
Right.
You go to him, you gotta get a hit. So how do you do it? So sometimes the one trick I do is always fasting. Sometimes when you fast, all the bad energies go away and then you're more in one with yourself. So that helps me to think, oh, this is right, this is wrong. Otherwise you're clouded by sometimes.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're the first artist I've heard, and I'm sure there's many that do that, but you're the first artist I've heard that has taken it to that place of that personal introspection and practices that you do that makes absolute sense to me that would be something you do, and you find that it brings a release. The pressure to not only produce a certain number of things, do you feel any pressure at all by the fact that you now have a quite an astonishing, when people don't know who you are, I'd say to them, he's the John Williams of India, and they know what that means in terms of what you've accomplished, because you're an Oscar winner, Grammy winner. Yeah, you're multiple. Do you feel pressure in terms of what fans and people expect you to produce? Does that ever come into play in your mind as far as I know what I have to live up to in terms of what they expect of me?
I mean, that's a good pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, as long as you're not ignored, who cares?
Yeah. Good answer.
That's true.
So that pressure pushes you to work harder.
Yeah.
Then go deeper, spend more time in music. Otherwise, you'll be holidaying. Oh, I got a lot of money.
Right. Just take time off.
So the constant churning out of music comes from that pressure, where the expectations are, what is he going to do next?
Yeah.
Is he going to do something great, or is he going to mess up stuff?
Yeah.
So that pressure is good even for me.
Yeah.
And the day you feel like, oh my God, everything is boring. I've done it all. There's nothing more to explore. If I feel like I should quit.
Yeah.
And for me, that it's actually expanding. I feel like there's an ocean of knowledge to be learned.
Yeah.
In orchestration,
Good.
in lyrics, and
Good. We want you to keep going.
Please do.
it feels so frustrating. Like you're so old and then still you have to learn. Oh my God. Sometimes it feels frustrating.
Sure.
So we've heard so many insane stories, not about yourself, but about like Rajasar and people coming to him. Like, I think we heard this one story that an entire film had already been shot, and he they were like, the score didn't work or something, and they're like, we need you to compose an entirely new score for this film that's already been shot, and it's something in like some ridiculous amount of days.
Yeah, like 7 days or something.
Well, I mean, there's obviously 1,000 stories of Rajasar and stories like that, but what's the craziest thing a filmmaker has asked you? Something like that.
And they can remain nameless unless you want to name them.
Well, even Slumdog was, it was given to me. Like, it was even the Jai Ho song, which was shot for another song.
Oh, really?
So I made the song, saw the visuals, I made that song, and then I made